Oh shit. Here we go.
There we go. What's up, mi raza? Today I got the homie Othree on the podcast today, man. Thank you so much, man, for pulling up. And I'm excited to just chop it up about a variety of different topics, man. Let's start with music, bro. You know, I know you've been doing the music thing, and you've been doing it for a minute, right?
Yeah.
Would you say you're more like in the hip hop lane or in the rap lane or like kind of like your own lane?
Well, when I started, dog, like I started like in '09, right? And my cousin, at this time, I was moving because then when I was in middle school, fool, I was heavy on that Chicano rap, like G Funk shit. So that's where we're in the West Coast, fool, you know.
All right, all
But
right.
when I got into high school, my cousin started showing me like a lot of more underground hip hop, like Psycho Realm, Jedi Mind, and like that kind of like rap and shit. And so when I first started, we were rapping on like necro beats,
Mm.
you know, like necro, Psycho Realm beats, like Cypress Hill shit, underground, like grimy ass fucking boom bap shit. And then uh but at that time, fool, like I was trying to go to college, you know.
Okay.
And so like I used to tell people I used to take it serious, fool, but in reality, it was just to keep up an image, you know, because I learned at an early age, fool, that it was all about image,
Hmm.
you know. But I was fortunate enough to when I was in high school, I got an internship in Santa Monica at a youth center,
Okay.
and they had a recording studio, and
That's dope.
they're big. It was called the Pico Youth and Family Center. Shout out to the PY. And right there, bro, like I took what I like that limited knowledge I had on hip hop, and they expanded it for me, dog. Like they started teaching me about the four pillars of hip hop, you know, the DJing, the MCing, the graffiti, and the breakdancing and shit. So I went from rapping on necro beats to more of like that conscious hip hop, like where KRS-One, Public Enemy. It was still on that boom bap realm. I wasn't even rapping on G Funk beats when I first started, dog. So it was more on the hip hop shit. You feel me? I was surrounded by like DJs and hip hoppers and 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 I was in the studio, full making fucking socially conscious hip hop.
But what was that like transition like, bro? Like, or better yet, why or what caused you to make that leap from like G Funk style to more like conscious style?
Well, like the G Funk came later, dog. Like I started doing the G Funk in like fucking 2018, fool. But when I first started that conscious style, like in my high school, I went to a high school, like a super small high school. It used to be called Animal Film and Theater Arts Charter High School. The school don't exist anymore. But the way they used to run the school was that they would let kids choose a topic, like an interest of them, and make a project about them that would impact the community.
Mm.
Right. So I combined like social activism with hip hop, and that's where the socially conscious stuff came about, and that's where I got the internship, and that's where I was able to do all kinds of fucking activism and using my words for like to create a like an impact for the youth. You know what I'm saying? Like who's my age.
Right.
And then I went to college, and I kind of stopped doing it for a bit. I was just fucking around, and then I came back from college in 2017, and that's when I was like, "Fuck it, dog!" Like, you know, I think either I keep doing it right now or I stop. You feel me? Like in 2017, like late 2017, I was like, "Yo, either I stop or I keep doing it." And that's when I was like, you know, if I'm gonna keep doing it. And I was always cool with my boy Surreal from Santa Monica. He's a producer. He used to be the head engineer of the at the youth center at that studio. And he was like, "Hey, fool, you want to start making some fucking like some different shit?" And that's when he started sampling like some underground underground funk records. And that's where we came up with Old Souls Organized Sound, which is we go by Osos.
Also,
And Osos, yeah, like because we're two big ass fools, you know. And that's where I evolved from more of just boom bap and underground to like that G Funk, and that's where it came about. And then it's not until recently where I just started like uh expanding that lane, you know. I'm not gonna rap over trap beats, you know, feel me? Like, but if I have to, I will, but that's not my lane.
mm.
You feel me? I'm more like that underground rap or that chill West Coast type beat. Not even G Funk, bro. Like I only do G Funk when I'm with Osos. You feel me? But outside of Mosos, it's boom bap, like the grimy shit, like the Griselda type beats, or like a Larry June type beat, you know?
All right. I I did want to ask, bro, because I mean, one of my favorite grupos is you know, when we think about Psycho Realm, bro, they what is the biggest difference, bro? Because they're obviously Chicanos, right? But you put them more like in the underground instead of putting them with like Chicano. Like what was that biggest difference between them being either Chicanos or being underground?
I think it just came from them, the way they labeled themselves. You feel me?
Mm,
They weren't. Yeah, they look like cholos and shit, but they weren't pushing that whole like gangbanger shit. You feel me? To them, it was more of like that. It was just street shit in general. You feel
mm,
me? Like that. You know, like if you listen to their shit, though, like it was more of a reality thing, like overarching. Like it was more like a newspaper article. You
right.
feel me? And it wasn't like if you listen to Chicano rap, it was all like if you listen like high power, like in the mid 2000s, fool, it was all like that whole gangbanger shit, like fucking to the max, full maxed out, you know. And I think that's, to me, that was the biggest difference. You feel me? They look like Psycho Realm look like cholos. They look like my neighbors and shit. They look like fools on the block.
Yeah.
But the shit they were talking about was completely different. And the beats, you know, of course, the beats. You feel me? Like the beats, the way they had that like DJ Muggs feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, we see Sick Jack pull up with Muggs, right, later on to create some really fucking badass albums. Which, by the way, man, I've gotten the great sweet pleasure, bro, of actually meeting Sick Jack. He's
Oh,
just
that's dope.
he's a real fucking down to earth, you know, real firme motherfucker, you know, like you could just tell, man, like, because I consider him to be probably one of the most successful, like most famous, you know, Mexican American rappers, you know, of all time. And and to see this fool, man, just like pull up, you know, to like a random ass function and and just chill, you know. And I think this is one thing that I realized, bro, is like people like him, they want to be treated like normally, you know. They don't want to be around somebody who's gonna be fanboying and, hey fool, can you sign my titties, you know, like
Yeah.
bro, just chill, you know, just vibe. And if he feels like eventually, like, you know, spitting some shit because he's, you know, throwing some beats and some of the other homies are throwing some music together or whatever, that then it'll be, you know. But I say that, bro, just to kind of bring in an additional point, bro, that like humility is such a beautiful thing, man. Whether you, because I have every right to be humble, you know what I mean? Like all my peoples are humble, you know what I mean? Like from humble origins, therefore, like I would feel like such a jackass to be out here pretending like I'm something else, you know, or like or not giving people the time that they deserve, or you know what I'm saying? Like having like an elitist fucking little smudge, you know what I mean? When in reality, bro, like I'm just like everybody else, you know, like I was born from the same, I was born out of the same concrete. So like, why would I be any different? Right. And then I see a real big dog pull up and act that way. And I'm just like, it's solidified, bro. You know what I mean? Don't act brand new. Don't act different. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there was one time, bro, when one of my homies, he called me out on something very, very subtle. And I didn't do it on purpose, but subconsciously, you know, sometimes we be acting certain ways. I was probably like in my senior year of college, and I was texting my boy Lewis, and I happened to text like, what's up, little bro? And then he like right away, bro. He was like, what the fuck? Hey man, don't fucking little bro me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, all right, all right. I didn't mean it like that, bro, but I see how you could take it like that. So, you know, it's important, bro, to have like homies that can check you, man. Have you ever gone on some fucking ego trip and then needed somebody to bring you back down to planet Earth?
Um, I mean, my brother, dog, my older brother. Like my older brother, like I told people my older brother is like my biggest fan of music, fool. So when he sees me step out of line, like he'll check me, especially like because I used to be a heavy drinker, fool.
Mm.
you know. And you know what happens when you drink, fool? You turn into somebody. You turn into the real you, pretty much, fool. And he would literally check me the next day. It's like, hey, fool, you're acting like a fool, dog. Like you need to check. You need to check yourself. And but I don't surround myself with like yes men, bro. Like all my homies, like if my homie fucks up, I got, no problem telling him, hey, fool, you fucked up. If I fuck up, my homies don't have an issue telling me I fucked up. You know what I'm saying? And same with my cousin, same with my brother. Like, I tell me, hey, fool, you fucked up, dog. And I think I have, like a pretty small circle. It don't seem like that, dog. Like, cause I'm cool with everybody and shit. But inside my circle, bro, like, I don't have a room for yes men. You feel me? And I think I mean, everybody goes through an ego trip at one point, dog. Like, this part of growing up. We're guys, dog. Like, we have to, we sometimes we feel like we have to live up to society standards and shit. Like, oh, this is how a man have to act. Like, this is how a dude has to be. Fool, like, you know what I'm saying? And even in our community, like, hey, fool, you gotta be a real fool. You know what I'm saying? And I don't believe in that shit, dog. I believe in being what the fuck, like, I want to be, dog. Just down to earth type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And like trying to be who you want to be, fucking it carries a lot of different weight, and it's colored in different ways. And sometimes, you might want to act a certain way today and different, you know what I'm saying? Like the vibes will change, and that's totally okay, bro. But I'm glad that you can have like real homies, you know what I mean? Like I don't underestimate the power of all my friendships, bro, from my old days, man. You know what I'm saying? Like most of my friends today, bro, we all met each other, some of them in elementary, some of them in middle school, and most of them in high school. For me, it was all because of football. You know what I'm saying? Like that was my lane. That lane is what really helped me create fucking lifelong relationships with fools, and of course you're gonna be in the same kind of energetic space, and quite frankly, bro, the reality is that we have all grown in different ways, like some fools are electricians, some fools are in construction, some fools are managers. You feel me? Like I'm a fucking teacher, you know what I mean? Like we all just went different ways, bro, but like the tethers, bro, somehow still bring us together, and it's about like a genuine friendship, man. And it's never underrated, bro, because nowadays it feels like most people kind of lack that authenticity, right? Like to actually be like, okay, like for one, like having your circle is great, right? Because it's real, and you know what you got. But for another, I think a lot of people are only willing to allow people in if there's something of merit or value. And obviously that makes a lot of sense, right? But at the same time, I'm with you. I'm with you on that point where like I have a lot of connections, but if I'm gonna be an author, if I'm gonna be a podcaster, if I'm gonna do all this fucking different like side projects, like I have to be able to speak to a multitude of people, be respectful, be kind, have something to share, have something to say, right? And the reality situation is that these conversations do end up creating some type of a level of rapport. You know what I'm saying? So there is a connection, and I never want to devalue that, bro, because at the same time, as much as I have an inner circle, I have a real love for humanity.
Oh yeah, yeah. You always gotta have like, I mean, I understand some people have trust issues and shit, and I mean, we all do, dog. And I mean, I have anxiety, bro. So my trust issues with people is deep, bro. But that's because it's all mental for me, at least. It's a mental thing for me, But that doesn't stop. Like I learned at an early age, it don't stop me from meeting new people. You know what I'm saying? Like I might be a little reserved with strangers and shit, but like if we click, we click. Dog. We don't, we don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, and yeah, I just leave it at that. Like I got like my main circle here, like is all my homies. We all met through like some street shit. You feel me? I mean, my cousins are part of my circle, but that's family. So my homies,
Right.
high school shit, but we're smoking, drinking and shit when we're younger. But then I have, the fools I met in Santa Monica, dog, and then I got my circle there, and then I got my circle for I went to school in Ohio, dog. Like, I got all
You went
kinds
to
of circles.
Ohio, my boy.
Yeah, it was crazy, fool.
All right, so
So
I definitely want to talk about that. But before we do that, I think it's important, bro, because you're a performer, right? You create music, you do all these different things, and yet you have anxiety, right? And anxiety, it develops and it manifests in a variety of different ways. Like for me, it's always like I feel like weird ass butterflies, you know what I mean? And I feel a little like inner, like I just feel like sick, right? And like scared. And I'm just like, I feel like, oh fuck, like I can't perform at my best. That's my anxiety, right? How do you know that you're feeling your anxiety? And then how do you manage to push through it and still be able to, perform?
well, I used to drink, bro. I used to drink to like get that drink less. It's like for me, it's more of a social anxiety, dog. Like I can't be around a lot of people.
I see.
I can't go to concerts, bro. I hate going to concerts. I hate being around. Like, for we went to a beer festival in April, and I felt some kind of way for the first like 30 minutes up until once I started getting buzz, then that's when it calmed down. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm learning how to deal with my social anxiety and like trust issues with people and like stuff like that sober, and it's hard, bro. Like I believe in energies. And so like if I'm around a bunch of good energies, bro, like and you could just feel it, fool. Like you could just feel it. And I'm gonna be a little bit more open and a little bit more calm. But if you're around a bunch of negative ass fools, then I'm a little bit more reserved when I'm just like all maniac fool, like paranoid ass fool, dog, like fist clenched fool, like ready, for whatever. And I don't like fighting and shit, but you just gotta. I'm just a little bit more tense. And so when I get home, I meditate. I wait till I get home and I meditate before I listen to some shit called binaural beats or isochronic tones. And I throw them on 15, 20 minutes for me relajo before I just calm down. And that's, and I build up my energy back because sometimes I feel drained when I'm around people. And it's weird for when like, hey dog, like how do you do it? And it's like, well, if you see me drinking, bro, and I'm around a bunch of people, it's because I feel uncomfortable. I'm chill enough to tell that to people. People think, oh, I'm just drinking because I want to have a good time. It's like, yeah, fool, that's only cool for up until a certain age. You know what I'm saying? There comes a point for like you're at that point you start having issues, fool, like. And like in my mid-20s, fool, I was like, yeah, I had a lot of issues. I'm 27 now, but like from 23 to like 20, 25, 26, like peak drinking, bro, like it was because I was like when we would go to bars and shit like that, or we go to like the like just like the Third Street Promenade in Santa Monica or at the Swami that's down my block, like down the block from my house. I just feel weird, bro. And so now when I'm doing it sober, like if I have my headphones, I'm gonna throw them on, bro. Whatever chance I get. If not, I just start practicing breathing exercises and shit. And that's when I start calming down.
Yeah. So there. Go ahead. Good.
Nah, go now. So I was just saying crazy shit, dog.
No, I mean honestly, bro, I can completely relate to like utilizing substances, right? To fucking plug me back in here, right? Because like you said, I mean, it could be very physical or it could be very mental or vice versa or both simultaneous, whatever, right? But like I've noticed that either weed could get me real fucking anxious, even more, or it can make me calm, right? But obviously, alcohol is definitely more of it numbs, right? So that sensation, right, of like feeling is definitely gonna subside a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
And matter of fact, bro, I am a big supporter of alcohol. And the reason why, as long as you can manage your shit, you feel me? But like, obviously, like if you're a fucking alcoholic, like that's a fellow, like a lot of different things. I mean, whatever, right? But anyways, the reason why I really, really enjoy alcohol is because it allows you to connect with people easier. You know what I'm saying? Now, is it a fake connection? I don't know. You know, that's up to debate, right? But like, for example, let's say you and me, right? Let's say we both have our guards up. You know what I'm saying? Because we're all tense and shit. We're in public. You're like fuck that. I don't really want to get to know nobody. You know, but you know, you throw a little cup in there, another cup, 3 cups, whatever. Out of nowhere, like the defenses are now a little lower. You know, there's like lubricant for the conversation, and really, bro, I think it does come to like trust, right? Like, can I trust you enough to share about some shit, you know? Because like part of a good conversation really is about like vulnerability. You know what I'm saying? Because if you ain't sharing nothing, like the conversation ain't gonna go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? It's like, fool, I'd rather be talking to a motherfucking wall. You know what I'm saying? And to some point, and maybe it's like I like just thinking right now, I'm like, maybe sometimes people that seem like they have a personality like that really don't, but they just don't trust me or anybody else enough to really, you know, like share what they're really all about, you know, man. So anxiety, bro, I've had different stages of it and different times of my life, and one thing, bro, that really like liberated me, there was a time, bro, where I fucking was real like crippled by it. You know what I'm saying? Like to the point where like sometimes I would have to like cry. You know what I'm saying? Because I'd be so frustrated. You know, because I'd be like, fuck, like I want to move on from this bullshit. You know. So one thing that really helped me was like clearing my path and exiting certain energies or certain folks that felt like eggshells. You feel me? Like certain people I couldn't really be me. Certain people I couldn't really speak freely. You know what I'm saying? And all of that was like, it was like little chains, bro. You know, remember Exodia shit? It's like, let me out.
Exodia.
Like, that's how I felt, bro. I felt like I was like chained up. But the reality was that I chained like myself.
A slave to your friendships, fool. Oof. Right? Like a slave to your friendships and shit.
Yeah, exactly. And that's some real shit, bro. That shit got me thinking right now. You know what I mean? But you know, that's definitely like a lot of nuance right there. Dude, how the fuck did you end up in Ohio though? Like that's some shit to explore right there.
Yeah, that's a whole story, bro. That shit is a crazy ass story. But I'm gonna just go before we move on from the anxiety, dog. Like,
you go ahead.
I'm the same way, dog. Like, there's certain people like I just can't hang around with anymore, and that's not because I hate them and shit. You feel me? But that's because I felt like I needed once I feel like I needed to chill with them, bro. That's when I knew I had a problem. So that's when I say like maybe the word slave is not the right word to use, fool, but I don't know of any other word to use, dog. Like maybe like I don't know, I stuck. Like I don't know how to really put it into words and shit, dog.
Oh, if we want to find a better word, maybe like codependency.
Yeah, almost like depending on these friendships, bro, and it's like fools will hit me up for like I'm trying to rap. They're like, hey, fool, you want to drink? I'm like, fuck if fool, I'm down. You know, because it would be like one of those things is like, and like I'd rather kick it with them than feel alone. You feel me? And then once I like figured out like, damn, this might be an issue, and I just like fuck it. I broke off from that dependency for my friends and my homies and shit, and I started kicking alone and started appreciating being alone and working on my craft. That's when I feel like I started making moves towards like dealing with my anxiety. And so like now now I don't even leave my room. I'm always working in my room, dog, whether it's on my music or it's on my side hustles with the marketing shit, dog. Like I just don't leave, bro. And fools are always hitting me up. I was like, hey, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. And I'm like, nah, fool, I'm good, dog. Like I did all that shit, fool. Like I'm tired, you know?
Yeah.
But they all understand. That's what I'm saying. Like my circle understands, bro. Like they don't get mad at me for not chilling. You feel me? That's why I feel like I'm blessed to have good friends, bro, and good homies. Because there's some fools that like they would get offended if you don't want to kick it with them, bro.
Mm.
It's like, what the hell, fool? Were you too cool for us now? Like, type of shit.
Right.
You know, but yeah, like now I feel like I'm not dependent on friendships or anybody else. Now I feel like I gotta be a little bit more selfish now to deal with my things, with my problems. And crazy shit, bro. Like, you know, but if you want to learn about Ohio, bro, all right, check this one out, fool. I in high school, uh we went to this, like, it was like a college fair at Universal Studios, like City Hall, like City, what is that shit called? City Walk?
City Shitty Walk?
Shitty Walk, fool, or like somewhere over there, bro. And there was a college fair, and it wasn't like a fair with I don't even know if there was like big colleges there, but it was a lot of liberal arts colleges. And we picked up a bunch of fucking booklets, a bunch of like resources. And for the next couple months of my senior year, like at the beginning of senior year, uh, they started teaching us about liberal arts colleges. And in my head, I was like, look, I gotta leave LA. You feel me? I was like, I gotta leave LA. I gotta go explore the world. And you know, which is funny, fool, because I have anxiety, and it was like, damn, like, but when I'm home, I feel chill, dog. I'm calm. But I felt like something in me, dog, told me, like, something in me was like, yo, you gotta leave LA for a bit. You know, whether it's fucking up north to Humboldt or Santa Cruz or whatever. Because when I was a junior, I went on a college trip, but that's a whole different story. And then I applied to a bunch of schools, for like a bunch of small ass schools in Ohio, dog, and fucking Maryland, and all kinds of different states. And I got accepted to the school called Ohio Wesleyan University. And you know, they threw a scholarship, and I was like, fuck if I'm going there. I didn't even research, bro. I didn't research anything about the school, fool. I was like, fuck it, I'm going there, fool.
That's fucking
Nobody, like,
mad wicked.
wicked, bro. Like a lot of mentors that I had all went to school in California. You know, I didn't really meet anybody that went to school out of state. It was like a lot of the people that I did meet out of state were born out of state, but they came to school in California. So it wasn't really like somebody to guide me. I was like, fuck it, I just took a giant leap, bro. And I went there, and I did 4 years study sociology, Spanish, English, and it was crazy, bro.
Damn, bro.
And
So you did 4 years from 18 to 22 or 17 to 21, right? Whatever. And
yeah.
what was your transition like? What was the culture shock like? And what was one really tough lesson that you learned through that span of time?
All right, look, I'm gonna say something. I never really talked about this publicly, right? So when I first went there, bro, I didn't. It wasn't really a culture shock because when I was in middle school, I went to a school in Silver Lake. So I did school with, with the Filipinos and the Armenians and the whites, and I mean, you grew up with the brothers and shit.
Different folks.
Different folks, bro. Like, so it wasn't really much of a culture shock. It was more of like, damn, I'm not home, for like for the grass was greener, bro. There's a gang of trees. It was humid as fuck. It was more of an environmental shock, bro.
Mm.
It was like full, like, like the buildings were different. The air smelled different. The people talked. Everything was environmentally. Everything was different.
Mm.
And then put inside this little small college of like 1,500 kids or teenagers at this point now, or young adults,
Right.
from different parts of the world. Like there's a lot of fools from like the Middle East, like a lot of fools from like India and Pakistan and Afghanistan and all parts of the world, bro. And then you put all those diverse people in one school. It was a crazy experience because you have like little groups of people and you see them, and you're just like, damn, dog. Like, I remember in high school, like I went to a small school and everybody just looked the same.
Right.
Right. And
wait.
so,
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
like in elementary, everybody looked the same. In middle school, people look different, but in high school, they all look the same. In my community, everybody looked the same. But I never really got to interact with like foreign kids. Right. So I think to me, in terms of culture shock, it was more of dealing with those folks, with the foreign kids, because now I met kids from like fucking Brazil, fool, and and like all different parts of South America. And it wasn't just like fools from Mexico and El Salvador or Guatemala. Like it wasn't just fools like that. It was, if anything, it was less of those. It was less of us than every other ethnic group or race. You feel me? So when I showed up, it was like, damn, like okay, I see how it is. And there was a lot of wealthy, like suburban folks, not just white folks. Like I'm talking about suburban, like wealthy black folks, white folks, and like and not even just to include those two races, but there was a lot more like fools that were rich, pretty much, dog. And these were fools that were rich, and it was, the vibe was different, the way they dressed, the way they talked. But as soon as I stepped on campus, bro, like you could just tell it was all eyes on me. Fool, like I stood out like a sore thumb, bro.
Mm.
Like there was other Latinos, but fool, come on, dog. I pulled up wearing a fucking Pro Club hoodie, dog, Dickies, and white socks. Fool, I was bald, fool, like
Sick ass.
And this is, I was a sick ass, and this was before the tattoos, bro. Like this was, I pulled up looking like a fool. I talk like a fool. I never changed. That's the one thing about me. I never stopped talking the same way, bro. I acted the same way. I never changed. And then I got to meet people, and they're like, look, they told me to stay straight up. And that's what I tell the youth now, dog, because I work at a school. I'm not gonna say what school it is, but I work with high schoolers, and I tell them, look, they told me at an early stage in college, like, look, either you're gonna be a full straight A student, dog, with no social life, or you're gonna be an average student with a social life, and you're gonna meet as many people as you can. And so I chose the second one. I was like, I'm gonna be in my grades, but I'm gonna meet as many people as I can. And I set out to do that, bro. I set out to do that. Cause in my head, bro, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna stop making music at some point in college. I'm gonna focus myself on becoming a sociologist. I'm gonna rise up in the ranks of an organization and do the whole political thing and do that shit. That was my future, bro. That's what I thought I was gonna do.
Okay.
Right. And I never talked about this, but because there's never a space. But I'm gonna tell it right here, dog. I was able to do Greek life. You know what that is?
Yeah, it's like frat, right? The frat life.
I joined the frat, dog, a fraternity.
Oh shit! And fools don't know that.
And fools don't know that, dog. And it's not because I'm ashamed, fool. I'm not ashamed, dog. I don't regret shit. It's more of like there's no space for me to talk about it, because like the fuck fools ain't gonna relate. But right. I tell the kids, like, look, when you go to campus, you gotta be careful, because they're gonna throw everything at you. They're gonna throw the whole playbook at you, and you gotta find the perfect fit. And if it's not fit, don't force it. You know what I'm saying? And now when I joined a white fraternity, dog.
Holy shit! That's blowing my mind right now. We keep going.
Yeah. Oh, you want to hear more, dog? No, yeah, it was crazy.
No,
fool. Like,
I do, because like, even from like a sociological perspective, like that's mind-blowing, because you're not like a whitewashed Mexican American or Latino, you know what I'm saying? Like that would easily be able to like somehow just let go and be able to just fucking fall in, right? Because like, I mean, I was never part of a frat, but I got to party with frat fools, so I know the vibes, and I know that there's definitely, especially out in Ohio, there's gonna be a lot of like weird fucking bias and discrimination and all this fucking crazy shit, So like,
yeah,
you being like a real motherfucking fool, there must have been some weird shit going on in your head, out in reality, and all that.
Well, I got the chance to like meet fools that were not studying sociology. These were all fools that were involved in like economics and finance and
money.
That money, fool, like fools are all studying money, and then that occasional like math fool, like science fool,
or the philosophy fool.
Yeah, like it was just random fools, like, but it was, most of them were all studying like economics or business or that part of the world. And I was like, probably like I could probably count on my hands for the amount of humanities majors that I met in the fraternity. And it wasn't just like white folks, we were probably the most diverse one on campus.
Okay.
There was a lot of black folks. we call them brothers, but my big brother was Mexican. Some fool from Torrance.
Oh shit! Look at that.
And so yeah, so like right away, dog, I was like, damn, like this fool did it. All right, shit, I could do it too. But even me and even him and myself, dog, we're completely different. You feel me? Like he was like that soccer fool. Like he was on the soccer team. That was his crowd. I didn't have a crowd. I come from the hood fool. Like I'm from South Central. And yeah, I'm not gonna say I didn't experience any like discrimination or racism, but it wasn't like it didn't come from like at least for me, dog. I'm only speaking for me, dog, because I'm pretty sure everybody had their own experience, but I didn't feel like any hatred. It was more of a curiosity thing, you know. And so like a part of me was like that, like either I fucking get offended and we move on, and they don't learn anything, and they keep being the same way their whole life, or I take the time out of my day to like teach them a little bit, so you know next time they encounter, bro. But pledging was crazy, bro. Like it was a lot of drinking, a lot of smoking. It wasn't and people, the first thing people asked, like, oh, did you do any like some homosexual stuff? Like, nah, we didn't do any of that, fool. That honestly, fool, that was my first question, dog. Like, I was like, hey, yo, like straight up, are we gonna do any like
gay shit?
You know, some way out there shit? Like, nah, fool, we're not. The first thing they told, like, nah, we're not a big school. If they did, it was a small school, bro, 1,500. Like, if any fraternity on campus did any sort of like stuff like that, like, fool, it'd make fucking headlines, man. They told me like, because other big schools, fool, they make you go through some like fucking ridiculous shit. For us, it was more mental. It was more of like, are you gonna have the fool next to you's back? I was like, fool, I grew up in the hood, dog. Like everybody gotta have their back. And I was surrounded with a bunch of fools that were like selfish, a lot of me guys. And I think the hardest part about joining that fraternity, fool, is that they push the whole like, oh, we're a team, fool, we're a family, dog. But in reality, dog, if you look at it, a lot of them fools right there, they came in selfish. And they probably still are selfish. You feel me? And because you could tell, dog, like, a lot of fools came from like small towns and shit, and community was like a big thing, but their community is different from our community, the way we look at community. You feel me? And so, do I still talk to all of them? Nah, obviously, you know. I got my own little group. I got my own little group from that because, you know, you it's cool, dog. Like once you go through the honeymoon stage, and then once you get closer to graduation, I was on campus when Donald Trump became president.
It's closer to the end, right?
Yeah. So my senior year, Donald Trump became president. So I was in my first semester of my senior year when Donald Trump became president, and it was fool. When I tell you, it was a weird, like, stage fool across the whole campus, dog. It was weird, bro.
I bet.
Because now, fool, like the fools, and I mean, fool, same thing with Hillary, dog. Like, you know, like at that point, it was like, I just hate that it's like just a 1v1 type shit. I hate it, dog. But you could just like, once you go through the honeymoon period of like, hey, yeah, fool, we're all kicking, we're partying, dog. We're going through like these nice parties and shit. Once it came down to it, dog, you start like meeting the real them. They start telling their political ideologies. They start talking about the stuff they believe. And that's when you have, you know, naturally you have to take a step back. It's like, look, dog, like, yeah, for I signed the same book as you did, but you feel me, dog? Like, that's not gonna stop me from criticizing the way you think.
For sure.
Me? And I think I didn't leave on bad terms with anybody, dog. I just at some point I just started separating myself from them, just because not everybody, but there was a lot of them who like, and not just in my house, fool, around the whole campus, like fools that I used to be cool with. Like once that whole like era of politics happened, you start noticing you start meeting the real them, and you just like, all right, shit, I know how it is gonna be, and it's cool, dog. You're living in a bubble, but you know how they're gonna be after college. You know, you kind of know who they're gonna vote for. You're gonna know, you know what they believe in,
Right.
and so you make the conscious decision like, do I want these people in my life or do I want to separate myself from them? And I was like, fuck it, dog. Like, don't matter if we're tied, if we wear the same fucking fraternity letters, dog. Like, I have a mission for when I'm here for my peoples, you know. And yeah, that was it, bro. Like, but was it fun? It was fun as fuck, bro. It was fun as shit, man. It was crazy, dog. Like
Totally.
drinking, living in a mansion, dog.
Dang, y'all stayed in a mansion?
Dog, it was a fucking mansion, fool. Like, we had a basketball court in the back and shit. It was crazy, fool.
Hey, you guys were fucking fish.
Dog, it was crazy, fool. Like, we had on Saturdays, fool. Like, when it was
Yeah.
nice out, we used to bring out a big speaker, fool, and just like on full blast, dog. Like, these, I'm talking about suburban kids, fool, bumping fucking the ghettoest fucking rap music of all time, dog. You're just like, damn, dog. Like,
Oh
feel
shit,
me?
you
Like,
got
it
the
was a
venue?
fucking. You feel me? Like, these fools are bumping. Like, this was Young Thug was coming up, you know, and Future was coming up. We're bumping
Right.
fucking Dirty Sprite 2 Future, dog, like on full blast in front of her, in the front yard of her fraternity at 8 a.m, drinking, fool, watching college football. And I mean, we don't do that shit here, fool. Like, we don't, you know what I mean? I don't do that shit here. And that shit, it was fun, bro. We went to like, we used to have like formals and shit. We had to dress up and you take a date and you go to nice restaurants or like nice little like halls and shit. And I mean, that's cool. But it's also cool for when you're drunk 75% of the time.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
know?
For sure. For
Uh,
sure. So, you know, I can totally relate, bro, on a certain tip. I graduated in 15, so I got to leave my campus before those elections, right? On my campus, there was definitely people who were overtly like racist. And at this, I mean, at a certain point, I had to realize, like, hey, how much are you gonna allow words to harm you? And then I was like, fuck it, whatever. It's just a word, or maybe they're just fucking around. Maybe it doesn't really matter. Whatever, right? Obviously, you know, we want to talk about like institutional forms of that power. That's a whole different thing, you know, that we must continue to critique, respond to, organize against, and change. But by 2016, bro, already I was already out here, you know, and I ended up getting a gig as a long-term sub on Jordan campus, the one in Watts. And so, you know, that was my beginning to later on becoming a teacher. But when Donald Trump became president, I'm sure you were aware that there was especially a lot of the schools in California that have large populations of kids of color, you know, they were all protesting, you know, they were protesting, they were fucking walking out. And I was fucking excited, bro, because at that point, I'm the adult now, you know, in the classroom. But I was a part of a school culture that was incredibly, whether you want to call it revolutionary or progressive or forward thinking. So we, all the teachers, we were like, fool, I'm gonna open the gates, you know, don't fucking jump, you know what I'm saying? I don't want you to get hurt. The administration was like, which one of you guys teachers wants to just go with them, you know, just to make sure that they're safe, this and that. And we went, bro, you know, like a couple of teachers of ours, for we fucking walked our asses from the Jordan campus all the way to like downtown LA. And to this day, bro, a lot of those kids that were freshmen at the time, they're fucking adults now. Like, I'm super cool with, bro, because that like really, like, I think really impacted them, you know, and it really impacted me, you know, and that's one of the primary reasons, bro, why, like, I think I've really enjoyed all these years of working with kids, because even though sometimes they can be assholes, it's only because they're unaware, you know, like they're
yeah.
unaware, their social emotional intelligence is still really low, you know, like they're developing. And like, I don't want to treat everybody like just because I was a fucking good kid, you know, with my teachers and everything, very respectful and shit like that. Maybe that meant that maybe I had a safer home, you know, and, and I had a little bit more love. So I had some of those like very foundational needs met. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a lot of these fools don't, right? So we have to kind of step down, you know, and be just real and be honest and be loving, but at the same time firm, you know, and be like, yo, this is what it is. I know you're not gonna get it right now, but you will eventually, right? Anyways, man, all that shit happened. But going back to the original point, I always used to think, fuck, I dodged the bullet, fool. Being back in Iowa during that election would have been fucked. You know, it would just wouldn't have been a good experience for me. And like I'm even more on the light skin side, you know, for Mexicans. But to them, they don't really see like they don't see my white ancestors, you know, they don't see the Spanish, they just see Mexican. You know what I'm saying? And so when you were talking about that, bro, I was just like, damn, bro, it must have been some motherfucking chaos. And you thugged it out, bro. You thugged it out. That was one really important lesson that I
It was
learned.
yeah, bro. It was probably the hardest one for was probably like having to figure out because we had like a inside the fraternity there was a culture like if you talk about like we didn't have like fucking forums or discussions as a whole house. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like we didn't have debates or like any of that. Like it was if you were gonna talk politics, it had to be behind closed doors type of shit. You feel me? Like nobody like it was we lived in a bubble. It was a privileged thing, bro. And you know, I will say, dog, it was privileged for like having to live in a place where whatever happened in the election, it wouldn't have impacted anybody there, at least directly at that moment.
I see what you're saying.
You feel me? It would impact me because I'm from over here. I'm from the hood. It would have impacted me, but nobody ever came up to me or like, "Hey, Othree, like, who are you voting for?" Like, it was never like that. You know what I'm saying? But once I would step out of my fraternity, dog, and I would go into the reality of the campus, fool. Because I mean, come on, dog. Like, you're living in a mansion, dog. Like, that's not reality, fool. It was a bubble, right?
Thanks.
And so once I would step out the doors, when I would go into campus, and you would see like it wasn't like full on protest because it was a small school, but there was people like out there, dog, voicing their opinions. You know what I'm saying? And I think what kept me sane, dog, was being a sociology major and being in classrooms where it was a little bit more progressive, where I did have progressive like conversations with professors and other of my other sociology like major peers and stuff like that. Cause I was a sociology major, but I was never using my knowledge in the fraternity. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't go home and bring what I learned on campus to anywhere like here because I mean that's 2,000 miles away. So the only chance I did have a chance, like the only time I had a chance to talk like politics and like social impact was either in the classroom or was like I was alone with a couple of my fraternity brothers who were a little bit more progressive than the rest. You know, and it was hard, bro. Like it was hard, dog, coming from a super like Chicano activism, revolutionary, like fucking all about la raza and that world to go in a place of privilege and having to find like ways to survive there. And it was all on me, dog. You know, like nobody like forced me to do it. I just did it because I wanted to. I was curious. But it did get hard at the end, bro, when politics started getting involved in friendships and it just like it was crazy, man. Because I mean, I was also cool with a lot of the progressive groups. You know what I'm saying? And I would show up to some of their like, I won't say I show up to their meetings, but um, I would talk to some of their members, and be like, hey, well, you know, like what's cracking, dog? Like, you know, a lot of like the it was also like, I'm trying to think. Once I started taking like a lot of those Spanish courses, then I started connecting with a lot more of my people. You know, because when I first got there, it was kind of, first it was me having trust issues, and second I was like, look, I'm gonna make like I come from a place where everybody looked the same. I'm gonna try to make friends with people that don't look like me. So I was actively, I don't want to say ignoring the Latinos on campus. That sounds fucked up, but I wasn't, you know, in my head I was like, look, I
already know y'all.
You know, like I know, I don't know everything, but I kind of relate. So I want to meet people that I don't relate to, so I could expand the way I look at the world. And it wasn't until my senior year when I started getting cool with a lot of Latinos on campus, and it was crazy, man, because you know, it reminds you of home. You know what I'm saying? You're just like, damn, dog, like this shit, we're living in a bubble right now, but once we leave, whatever happened these past 2 years, they're gonna have a fucking big impact of what we do outside of these fucking campus walls and shit. So, and then I came home.
I feel that, bro. To go back to an earlier point about like our friends, you left and they were there, right? Like there's someone that's always there, and like for like a real homie. It doesn't matter how busy you are, bro. You know, matter of fact, bro, I want you to be busy. You know what I'm saying? Like I low key don't wanna hit you up and be ignored, but I'm gonna be happy. You know what I'm saying? Hey, bro, let's go kick it. Nah, bro, I gotta hit the gym. Nah, bro, I gotta take care of my kids. Nah, bro, I'm working on my business. Whatever, right? I'm working on my music. I'm gonna be like, hell yeah, you know? That's what I love. Another thing is like for example, one of my homies, you know, the one I wrote the book with, SGN, like, you know, when we hang out, bro, we're basically like, there's a friendship and we're also in creative mode. You know what I'm saying? Which is probably one of my favorite like circles of friendships, you know, because it's like you bring in the productivity and like the love and the happiness and the joy, and you're just like, it feels really fucking good, man. It feels like that's what life is supposed to be. You know, earlier I told you I was stuck in traffic. I was getting out of my jiu-jitsu gym, 10th Planet, and as I was driving home, I was feeling really fucking good, you know, like I worked out, I did my thing, I sweated, I fucking showered, fucking the air is gently like breezing upon me, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, yo, life makes the most sense to me when I'm doing what I want to fucking do, you know? And that is definitely a lot of privilege. I gotta say that, but I worked for that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't always just like in a position, you know. I wasn't just like born into all of the advantages that I've gained. A lot of the advantages that I've gained, I've studied, I've hustled, I've gotten my ass beat, bro. You know what I'm saying? But now I don't shy away from that, bro. This is why, like, and by the way, I get this from one of my homies. He's a veteran, spec ops, right? Special operations. And this motherfucker, bro, he works out up to 3 times a day like a fucking straight maniacs. He's not out there doing you know what I'm saying? He's not out there fucking diffusing bombs in the fucking ocean anymore, but his mentality is always like, bro, I'm fucking like, I gotta be fucking hungry, bro, to just fucking like, and it's a mentality, bro. And I want to share that with the world. And I'm not at that level, you know what I'm saying? But like, I acclimate to me, right? Like the fucking David Goggins, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll never be that motherfucker. But there's something to, and I don't know if it's, I don't necessarily think it's a male thing, you know. It could be a human thing where you're like, we gotta constantly be like almost like on a hunt, but at the same time, like, I don't think that we should be too fixated on like the hustle mentality either, because then we like burn out, and like, you know, depression, anxiety could also be like strong features of that, you know. We all need to seek our balance, you know. I guess I'm just saying that for me, what seems to work, what seems to really give me a strong foundational gratitude-esque mentality, which facilitates my happiness on a daily, is doing what I want to do. You know, it's as simple as that. And for a long time, that was teaching, you know, but we grow out of things, man. That's another thing, you know. It's like things are temporary, man. Like the impermanence of life, you know, like these very like Buddhist philosophies and principles are things that make a lot of sense to me, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm here now, but eventually I will disintegrate just like a flower, you know, and there's so much love and there's so much beauty in me, but one day that energy will pass, you know. So while this energy is here, present, alive, existing, I want to make sure that I'm enjoying, bro. And that's selfish. But I've learned, bro, just like you said, you know, like now I'm learning more to be selfish, right? For the past 10 years, I've been so involved in the community and wanting to make change and wanting to see transformation. And then one day I realized, and I was just like, I still want to be involved in changing our community and people, but I'm not too sure if I want to be there. You know what I'm saying? Forever. And it's a little selfish, but at the same time, I hope people understand, right? That I'm not coming from a place of like malignancy or that I don't want to be involved anymore. I think I just want to take a little step back, you know, and also say that I was there during my youth, right? Because it's that there's a quote somewhere, bro, that's something along the lines of like it for it's almost our genetic composition as youth to be revolutionary. You know what I'm saying? And so naturally, you know, I'm becoming a old head. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting fucking ganas and shit. You know what I mean? Like it's time in a sense. I guess I'm trying to say like trying to pass down the torch of that work. You know, that hardcore work, and become more like more maybe like a mentor. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, bro, you like a coach. You feel me? Like coaches coach you and give you plays. But I'm not running the fucking fade no more. Fool, I'm fucking tired. You feel me? And that's just, I think those very foundational and beautiful changes, bro, that I'm learning to embrace and not feel and not feel um and not feel bad about, you know. And I guess I say that so that whoever is listening, they're able to be like, you know what? I'm going through changes. You know, I'm going through changes. Embrace them, man. I embrace the changes, fool. That's what I'll say. Embrace the changes. Whatever those changes are, embrace them.
For once I left, my dream, fool, always my dream, and I never changed it. They would, even when I was over there doing my thing in Ohio, surrounded in a place of privilege, or when I was in fucking high school, like towards the end of my high school years, my dream was always to work with youth in my community, right? So I was like, how do I do that? Do I become a teacher? Do I become a social worker? Do I become like a counselor of some sort? I was like, you know what, fuck, I'm gonna do like a social work counseling, right? One-on-one type of shit. And that's why I studied sociology, because that's what I thought where I was gonna go in life, bro.
Mm.
And when I finished in Ohio, my dad got sick, and it kind of derailed my plans, because my plan was to live in Ohio for like 2 years, work
Mm.
over there, and then come back. You know, like as a, because all the connects, well, a lot of the connects you have are in that community, fool, in that Columbus, Delaware, Ohio community, because that's where the school is at. So it would have been easier for me to get a job over there as compared to over here, where, you know, a lot of the jobs over here, they base off experience rather than education sometimes, just because it's a fast-paced city.
It's
And
highly
so I was like, you know what,
populated
fuck,
too, right?
Yeah, you feel me? And so like, all right, I'm gonna get a job over there. But then my dad got sick, and so I came back and I moved back in with my parents, and but I underestimated the the negative effects of partying all the time in college. Fool.
Hmm.
I because I came back, fool, and all I wanted to do, fool, was drink. Like I wasn't even smoking anymore, man. Like I just wanted to drink, fool, and kick it. Dog, like mentally, I was still living in the fraternity. Like I was
Hmm.
working with youth, but I wasn't happy. I was like, and then my first job was as a boys and girls club in Santa Monica, dog. Right? I felt like I wasn't doing impact with the kids, so I left. I took a semester at Santa Monica College. I wasn't working, dog, and then that's when I was working on music. So the only thing that kept me sane during that time was music. Because now at this point, I'm already taking it a little bit more serious. But behind the scenes, bro, like I got a drinking problem. Right? I'm not happy, dog. Like I'm not using all the knowledge that I learned. And I was pretty much full. I'm pretty just much writing it out for like whatever happens, happens type of shit, you know? Then I get a job at an elementary school and the same thing, dog. Like I'm still going through my drinking shit. Then I get a job at a middle school, fool. And during this time, I was like 25, right? And this was when I started doing a little bit more like self work, right? So now I'm drinking less. I'm working on myself. I'm starting to lose a little weight, like taking care of my hygiene, like myself. And I start connecting with the youth in Koreatown a little bit more, right? And then a job right here that I'm not gonna say the school that way don't burn it out, but there's a school in my community, dog, and they have an opening for an after school program to open up the gyms in the morning. The open up the gym in the morning, and I took it for 2 days out of the week. I was like, "Fuck it, dog! Like, this is my end. Like
Hmm.
this is the way I get into my working in my neighborhood. Like this is what I want to do, dog. Like this is it." And I took the chance. I got it, and then I was working for a company called YPI. I don't know if you ever heard of it. The Youth
No.
Policy Institute, and I was working in Koreatown at one of the middle schools over there, um, and I was I was connecting with the youth now. Like now I'm a little bit more happier, dog. Like I'm back mentally, like more of a positive person, and I'm not working through the school. I'm working through the program, right? Through YPI, which the school hires to run the after school program. So I'm not directly an employee of the school. I'm working for
Right.
the organization called YPI. YPI closes, bro. They go through some like fraud shit. Like the CEO, like and the treasurer, like they go through some crazy shit. Like it was like local news, bro. And
Sick.
we got fired, bro. We all got laid off on a Friday for like the week before Halloween. This is like October of 2019,
Damn, that's pretty
right?
recent shit.
All right, and then at 20, because I mean, from 2017 to 2019, I was going through my personal shit. But October 2019, like I'm good, bro. Like I'm like I feel like I'm at the peak of my service. Drinking less, like I said, dog, like working out, and then boom, we get fucking laid off, right? Luckily for me, uh, the I was also working for a different after school program, which is why I got hired to work at the local high school to do the opening up the gym and shit. And they had a job to do like a after school program, like a program leader. So I hit up my supervisor, like, "Yo, y'all need somebody?" And then boom, dog, I got hired with like my paper was already there, so I didn't have to do interviews. I didn't do nothing, bro. Like I was set. My name was already on a database. So all I had to do, dog, was get approved, and I started the next week. But at this point, I'm also like, damn, like, should I take my music a little bit more seriously? Like, now should I start doing it for real, for real? And that's when I started getting the idea of creating like video content, like fucking starting a podcast, starting a clothing brand, the record label. And I slowly started seeing myself not being happy working in the education world.
Mm.
Right. Like, and so it was like, I didn't want to say like damn, I spent 7 years of my life studying something that I'm not gonna use anymore. But I slowly started seeing like myself. I finally got my dream job, and I'm not fucking 100% there mentally.
Mm.
You feel me? And I just been writing it out, man, just because like I felt I didn't I want to leave, but I didn't want to leave empty-handed. I wanted to do some kind of change. I wanted to install something, whether it be like a fucking club that lasts for years or whatever, a program that lasts something within the organization where I'm working for. And I finally got the chance to do that this year. And from November 2019 up until, I mean, for right now, my main thing is music and video content. But I started learning about marketing and branding. Right. So I'm moving away from the education world, and I want to start my own marketing agency.
Okay.
Because everything we do in this world is marketing, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like working with youth is, you're literally much a marketing agency, dog. How do I get the kids to do the work? How do I get the kids to like pay attention? How do we get, working in education is pretty much, it's a marketing, it's a marketing job. So I was like, fuck it, dog. Like, and so when in your point saying like I want to do what I want to do, is like now I'm feeling the same way. Like now I feel like I gotta step back a little bit, be a little bit more selfish, and start working on my shit, my music, my marketing, my people's, dog. Like, helping myself. And it's selfish, but shit, dog. Like, I'm not happy, dog, working with the youth. I don't hate the youth. The youth have nothing to do with
It's all
my issue.
you.
I think my issue, yeah, it's all me, dog. And I think my issue is more with the system, the way the system works, bro. It's like when your program runs on grants, you have guidelines,
Mm.
and I think guidelines affect.
Creativity.
There's pros. They're pros and shit, but having too many guidelines because of a grant food, it stifles it ruins your creativity, man, and it puts too many limits on you, and I don't like that shit. And so I feel like that's why. But it's not, I'm not saying it's the organization's fault. It's just the way the system is built. Because every single after school program is like that, and I rather do something that actually makes me happy with no guidelines. Where the only guideline is the law, bro. And then even then,
Yeah.
like, fuck it, fool.
Yeah. Honestly, bro, I think that's like the spirit of the artist, where the artist was born to destroy the status quo. And it's the status quo, these guidelines that are working together and perpetuating oneself, right? Or each other, because they need each other, right? Like, for example, we wouldn't be able to live in our world without fucking cops, right? Cops make sure that these laws are being followed. Teachers make sure that that there's a steady flow of like working class people, because that's really what school institutions do, right? We're mass factories of people who are not going to think for themselves, to not use such fucking harsh language.
No,
And
but it's
so,
the truth, bro.
yeah, yeah. And so we just do this on a large scale. And eventually, I will say this though, I don't want to put down everything, because there's always people who are inside that make a difference, right? It's kind of like the whole, like, can a politician be good? Absolutely, right? Are a lot of them not? Absolutely, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's that same question. And so I'd like to believe that I did my job, right, as far as liberating the people, mentally, through education, as best to my ability, right, to not perpetuate like this enslaved mindset, right? But we're grown now, bro, and I realize, bro, like I'm a fucking mice in the trap. You feel me? Like, with a cool salary, with cool benefits, right? And I think O'Leary from Shark Tank said that. He's like, yo, they're gonna offer you some nice packages, but that complacency is what's going to like murder your your real entrepreneurial spirit to be free, because that's what it represents to a lot of us, and it's interesting too, right? Because I think a lot of us have been highly critical of that system, but this is why, well, I think, maybe Ayn Rand would argue this, or a lot of the, I got a lot of this ideology, right? Like as far as like doing for self from like, the Nation of Islam, because they're the ones that really push that shit, right? For their community, right? And when I started paying attention to that, I was like, it seems selfish, but in reality, I'm not a selfish person. I give a lot, I give a lot of attention. I give a lot of love. I give a lot of the little bit of chump change that I may have to give to people. I give a lot, right? So if I do for self, I'm able to do more for you, right? But if I'm constantly just doing for you, then I have nothing more to expand and to continue to create. So I think we're in the right path, man. I think we're in the right path as far as like being discontent and questioning and not taking the conformist approach, right? To just doing it. It's not to say that it's gonna be easy, right? It's not to say like fucking 2 years and fucking I'm gonna make it and all this other shit, like that's why we became authors. Because that's my way of finally stepping out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And no, I'm not saying that I'm going full independent, you know what I'm saying? Hustling straight on Pacific Boulevard and shit every fucking day. But I am saying though that I think one of our first times that we left the nest was when we left home to college. That was one of the first times, right? But then I created a new nest now, which is like being in education is very comfortable, it's a very fucking cool job. But I'm thinking, fam, make another leap so that you can get that different growth, bro. And that's why I'm here, bro. That's why I'm here, on this fucking navigating this fucking really weird plane, is to grow, whether it's spiritually, whether it's mentally, whether it's physically. But I want to grow, and I want to grow, and I want to keep like developing gems, like this is why, this food was created. I strongly believe that it's a timeless gem, for burros from all sorts of hoods. You know what I'm saying? Not the main one, but a gem, right? And life gives us enough space for all of us to contribute our gems to society. Whoever is meant to, cross paths with it and be illuminated and transformed, fucking amazing. But embracing like the journey of not really knowing, I think I was probably part of those ancestors, the motherfuckers that got on boats and fucking said, where the fuck are we going? I don't know. You either fucking die in the sea or you make it to the new world, and you discover things and they transform you, whatever, right? But like I'm on this journey, fool. I'm on this journey right now. I'm barely, I'm putting all my shit in the boat right now, and I'm saying my goodbyes, to family and friends, and I'm looking at the sea and I'm just like, it's a little scary, there's a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts, but I'm excited to see what I find out there.
I'm excited too, dog. I'm excited to see what's next. And not just like career wise, but like musically, man. Like that's at the end of the day, that's why I'm doing it. Right. Because I don't want to just make money with music. I want to do all kinds of shit. All kinds of shit, though. I think that's the goal, bro. To make like a whole empire. A whole empire, man. I think that's what I want to do. And if if I continue this marketing, bro, like shit, maybe the schools start using my you feel me? Like, what if the after school programs that I work for hire me, dog, and then have me run their marketing? You know, that's not. I might have left, but I'm still always gonna be a resource for them.
Right.
Like, I don't want to just straight up like maybe just quit and then just be like fuck the schools, you know? Like I just
Right.
I want
Thanks.
to just
My
become a
bad.
resource. Nah, that's cool, fool.
All right, there you go. My bad, dog. The motherfuckers was passing through here all fucking scandalous and shit.
Like always, dog.
For sure. For sure. Nah, bro, but you're right. You know, like I feel the same way, man. I'm always gonna be a resource for all my kids, you know. Just holler at me, man. I know a lot. I have some connections, you know, like let's collaborate, let's work together, you know, and community, fool. Like I strongly believe in it. I strongly believe in it because I'm a product of it, you know. Um in in the tradition of my podcast, you know, the last question that I like to ask my guests is it's one that you never sign up for, but I always ask. Othree, what is the meaning of life?
Damn, that's crazy. I think the meaning of life, dog, is just first you gotta figure out your identity, and then build your life around your identity to be happy. Because there's a lot of fools that are lost, you know, and they're always trying to figure out what's up, you know, they never figure that out. And so they conform to like the most basic things like work, go home, sleep. And I think once you and a lot of people do that and they're happy because that's their identity. You know, they take pride in being the worker. They take pride in being a part of the working class, you know. But then there's fools that they figure out that identity and then they figure out they want to do more. So I think figure out your identity, dog, and then I think you'll be happy. You don't want to be lost in this world. So I think the meaning of life is once you find your identity as happiness, man. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Finding
Yeah.
finding oneself, knowledge of self. I think that there's a strong connection between knowledge of self and then finding like purpose, right? Like being like mission driven, having a purpose, all of these different things put you in a different level as a thinker and like energetically, you know, spiritually, and like this is some elevated shit. You feel me? Like that's really my type of energy. You know, like I exist in an elevated way while maintaining a sense of humility, right? Like I'm not here, but I am when I need to listen to you, right? And I'm not saying you directly, but like la raza, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know how to listen to them. I know how to understand them. I may not agree with them, right? But if anything, I am like a little vehicle, right? Where I need to still be here to be involved and understand and be. Maybe that's just an excuse, but whatever, right? Like I'm still somewhere else completely. I've been able to successfully, you know, create that path for fools to experience, but it's not about walking my path. It's about creating your own, right? But but sometimes you do have to be revolutionary in that way, right? Where you're just like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm doing my way. I'm gonna fucking figure it out one way or another. That's if I have to. But you know what I'm saying? We gonna do this, bro. Othree, do you have any plugins, bro, that you would like to introduce?
I mean, can I give you my link tree so you can put it on the description?
Yeah, absolutely. On the
Yeah,
on the on the YouTube, I can definitely drop it in the description.
yeah, because I link tree I have everything right there. I set up my link tree where I have all my socials there. Uh, you could join my Discord. You could fucking follow me on every social media platform. You can send me an email. You could listen to my latest tape, which is called the Rowdy 2, which dropped in April. You can watch my latest music videos. You could check out my record labels like website. But if there's one thing, if you're listening and you can't access the YouTube description, follow me on Instagram. It's at Gumbo Market Boy, GUMBO MARKETBOY, Gumbo Market Boy. And yeah, that's pretty much it, dog.
Othree, gracias, carnal, for pulling up to the show today and having a real motherfucking conversation from food to food. I appreciate you, young God, man, and keep doing your thing, man. You're gonna make your shit happen, bro. I support it 300%.
All right. Thank you, man. Thank you for the opportunity, and stay rowdy.
Stay rowdy.